Much to follow that weather update. Now, the news cycle was very busy this week, and neither the media or the analysts could actually keep up with the developments. So, with everything that happened, let's just take a look back and unpack the events of this week. But to help us do that, we joined in the studio now by political analyst Ralph Mathekga. Mathekga, good morning to you, and thank you so much indeed for coming through.
Good morning, Palishan. Thanks for inviting me.
Where do we even start?
Well, it's indeed.
It was one of those busy weeks in South Africa.
Exactly. We have had one installment after another. We have had the case on corruption, the SCA ruling on corruption charges relating to President Jacob Zuma. We have had developments regarding investigations on elements of state capture actually happening outside South Africa, in the UK and so forth.
Let's start with that one. I mean, FBI wanting to investigate the Gupta family.
Well, it was coming. It was coming. Some of us, we have said it on record that you are likely to see investigations by foreign authorities because most of the companies that are alleged to have been involved in this state capture, they do have a presence in the United States as well. But this is even more interesting because what the FBI is doing is to look at American citizens, the company that they've put together, and they are related to the Guptas, of course, and the question of money laundering. For me, it is not the end. Expect also another investigation that might still come under the Securities Exchange Commission in the USA, where they are looking at those activities as well. It might lead to some of the fines as well. So this is just the beginning. UK authorities as well are looking into this. But I think, Palesa, we are not going to be naive about the response that will likely come out of South Africa.
But is it not worrying that no criminal charges have been laid against the Gupta family here at home?
It is worrying because what it says, in my mind, it says that South Africans have got no intention to protect their own sovereignty, because if we wanted to protect our own sovereignty and our own dignity, we would have carried on the investigation ourselves, so that those authorities, if they are doing investigations overseas, at least we are also being seen doing those investigations. But there isn't an investigation. You do have some piecemeal inquiry, including the one that we have seen in Parliament regarding ESCOM, but you don't have a comprehensive investigation. And I think what is going to happen is that politicians in South Africa are going to say that Americans and UK, they're actually interfering with the sovereignty of South Africa. And I think that is going to be an untenable defense, because what is it that we have done to show that we do care about what has happened on our soil?
Yeah. Now, talking about ESCOM, let's just look at parastatals. The new SABC board was appointed by President Jacob Zuma this week. The state capture probe by parliamentarians on ESCOM. SAA board chairperson Dudumiyeni leaving the SAA as well. What do you make of all the developments, and where to from here?
I think that there are a lot of changes that are happening. Let's start with SAA. I think that clearly political leadership reluctantly had to remove Mrs. Dudumiyeni because they've been defending her for quite a while at the national carrier. I also think there is a pressure from the lenders here, those who actually have put money into SAA, those who could actually call upon their loans to be repaid immediately if certain changes are not being undertaken regarding governance at SAA. So I think that at least you can say the market seems to be pushing for some form of governance at SAA. It is positive. I hope it is being sustained. And the board of SABC, I think it is a reprieve. It is very important that the national broadcaster gets stabilized. You do move towards a good governance within the national broadcaster. We have elections coming in 2019. You need South African Broadcasting Corporation to be stable so that they can give the nation proper and honest reporting regarding elections, all other matters within the country.
And there were concerns, of course, about the chairperson and the deputy chairperson, their involvement with the Zuma family.
Exactly. I mean, that is a concern, but I also think that maybe this is not the end. If people are saying that you are involved with a particular interest group, as it is the case with the chairperson here, all you have to do is to actually carry yourself in a way that you can dispel those kind of suspicions, you can deal with those suspicions. So there is an opportunity for chairperson to carry himself in a way that shows that actually he cares about the interest of the nation, not the partisan or a particular interest of a family.
Now, moving along, on Tuesday, an event that shocked many of us, a cabinet reshuffle. Were you expecting it? Because there were, of course, reports doing the rounds that President Jacob Zuma will do it. Were you expecting it? Did you see it this way?
Well, I wasn't shocked, to be honest with you. It is the president's prerogative to actually do that, and the president actually, he was sitting focusing on another issue here, the previous cabinet reshuffle that saw finance minister going. Yeah. I think that you look at the people that have been moved, particularly you look at higher education. Dr. Bladen Zimande is not an outstanding achiever in higher education for that matter. And if you look at the sentiments of the people, some people are saying good riddance and so forth.
That is what the EFF is saying.
Exactly, yeah. But politically it means that President Jacob Zuma now actually declared war against his former allies, because remember, these are the people who at the forefront of his ascension to lead the ANC. So now they have all the time in their hands to actually undertake any kind of a program against him, criticize him, maybe go against his wishes regarding the leadership contest of the ANC.
But is this the end of the alliance maybe, because they're not happy with what happened?
Well, they will have to meet and renegotiate the terms of involvement or inclusion in the alliance. I mean, the alliance has been improvised upon for quite a while. I don't think they have had a decent open conversation regarding how are they going to engage with each other. I don't think it means a complete end, because remember, as much as the SACP is angry, they don't know how else to exist outside the ANC. They have never contested power on their own. The same you can say with Kwasatu as well. Their relationship with the ANC gives them access to power. It works for them. All they have to do is to sit down and plot their way forward and find or maybe change the rules of engagement in the alliance.
Now, Ndate Mathekga, there is a talk of a possible removal of the deputy president. He even had to take those questions in parliament yesterday. This, of course, after one of his confidant, Ndate Motlatsi, talked about a Doge intelligence report that apparently President Jacob Zuma will use to remove him in power. What do you think that will happen?
I mean, if the purpose of removing the deputy president, at least seen from the point of view of President Jacob Zuma, if the purpose is to make sure that maybe he ensures a particular outcome in the elective conference, put it out there that maybe if he wants to make sure that Dlamini Zuma succeed, I think it will not be strategic. Actually, if deputy president is removed, that will be the best thing that happened to him, because he will have all the time to campaign. But also, most importantly, if you look at the deputy president's campaign so far, there has been this lack of clarity regarding the extent to which he needs to take ownership about the problems in government and therefore position himself as an alternative. You can't do both at the same time. But if he's removed, it means that he can take a bold position and say that I'm no longer part of the administration.
But some people say that will make a way for Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma.
I don't see it that way, because I think that one thing that held back the campaign by the deputy president is this thing of you are the leader of government business. You have to take responsibility for some of the mistakes and some of the problems in government. But at the same time, you are saying to people that come 2019, you want to be an alternative. Yeah. So if he gets removed, now he can clearly articulate his position saying he's an alternative, and towards he can become even more bolder, I would say.
All right, we'll leave it at that due to time constraints, but thank you so much for coming through.
Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. Well, Ralph Mathekga is a political analyst, and he was helping us to connect the dots in all the government, political and social activity that took place this week, and possibly making connections to what we can expect to happen next week. Let's take an ad break here on Morning Live. There's still so much more to come. Do stay tuned.